Okay, right. Right, let's begin. So, for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Sharon. I am the Cancer Mum cheerleader. 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and since then, I've been trying to do my best for other mums who are affected by cancer, whether or not it's themselves or unfortunately their children, because I just feel like there's such a taboo around cancer and it doesn't get spoken about, and we can't learn and beat it if we don't talk about it. So that's why Unbreakable Voices was born, and why I then have people like Kelly who are coming on to then share their stories. So welcome, Kelly.
Hiya, nice to meet
Hi.
you.
So let's dive straight in. So first of all, what is your daughter's name?
So she's Nalia. Uh,
Nadia.
n- yeah, Nalia. Yeah.
That's so pretty.
Thank you. Yeah, it
It's
was a bit of a
cute.
made-up name, really. I think between me and her dad.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. It's so cute. Okay, so take us back to the moment she was diagnosed. Like, what do you remember most from that day?
Um, I just remember us all because I decided that I wasn't worried at all when we got the call from the consultant to come in and talk about what they found. Um, Cancer was not on my radar at all. So I had my daughter, my other two children in the back of the car. We were just driving to the hospital. My daughter was really blasé. We were both like, they need to get this sorted out because I want. She was like, I want to get back swimming. I want to get back doing netball. So yeah, we walked in there really positive and really naively, but like, yeah, we were really happy, just walked in. Luckily, I'd said to my middle son, who at the time was 12, I said to him, why don't you just wait outside in the waiting area? I don't know why I did. And me, my daughter, and my then 1 year old walked in to the consultation. Um, but as soon as I stepped in, I knew there was something wrong
Mm.
because his face just it didn't say you just have a feeling, like a gut feeling that actually, damn, I've come here with all my children. This was a
Mm.
really bad idea. And all that, my husband was like, oh, to have the kids. I was like, no, don't be silly. We've been back and forth to the hospital so many times. This could be another one of those, see a consultant, and he just goes on and on and on. So yeah. And then he kind of just got straight to it. I just remember him just introducing himself and just being like, I'm so sorry, but actually found is a cancerous tumor. But we know nothing else about it. So I was like, oh, okay. So if you've got any questions, I can't really answer them because all we know from the biopsy is that it's a cancerous tumor. Until we know what type of tumor it is, then we'll have more answers for you. But we've done the referral. You'll hear from someone from Adam Brooks in Cambridge, and they'll be able to give you more information. Tadio, bye bye.
Oh
That
my
was kind of
gosh.
it. Me and my daughter just kind of sat there, completely like gobsmacked. She was in floods of tears. I was in tears. Then, obviously, then I had to kind of compose myself because I needed to go and see my son, who was in the reception waiting. But as soon as he saw us, he was like, "Why are you crying? What's happening?" So I didn't really get to prepare. Like I didn't get to prepare
Yeah.
anything. I didn't get to actually. I think it would have been nice to sit down with him and discuss it with him if he had any questions. I couldn't answer any questions. Oh, I can hear myself. But yeah, so we all just sat in the hospital and had a good old cry, really. And I phoned my husband and told him, and he rushed home from work. Um, and we decided to just treat the kids to ice cream. So we went to a dessert lounge, tried to kind of make it a bit more light-hearted because we didn't have any answers. I didn't really want to tell family either because I knew that they
Mm.
would be like, what, what's happening? What are they going to
Yeah.
do? I had no answers. The referral was fabulous. Like within 2 days, I received a call um, from Adam Brooks to come in and meet the consultant and to go through everything. But yeah, those 2 days were just like, I don't know, we were just kind of walking around with a cloud,
I mean,
just
it's
crying.
just to just be told then that she has cancer, but then that's kind of then just it.
That was it. Yeah, that was it. That was it. I was like, cancerous tumor. That's all we know. So then, you don't. They say don't Google as well because
Mm,
obviously, if you type in cancerous tumor, you can
yeah.
get a whole load of information. So I didn't. I didn't Google at all. I was just a bit of an emotional mess really for 2 days. It was in the summer holidays. Um, so then we were booked to go to Adam Brooks and she was going to be there for 3 days. So my head was kind of more focused on kind of arranging childcare for the other two children. I didn't really have time to think about the impact of what was happening. There was more
No.
planning for what we were going to do for the next 3-4 days. My husband was at work, so get someone to look after the other two. Um, I didn't even know if I was allowed to stay with her. So there, what to pack, and yeah, it was a scary, scary time when I think back now. I
I
think I
just,
was, when your adrenaline's just going
yeah.
and you're just on autopilot and you
That's the
just,
thing as well. I think when you're a mum, you're just in mum mode.
yeah, no, totally. So I literally just spent the time in my mode, and you just, there's so many things that are thrown at you as soon as you get the confirmation. So once we went to the Adam Brooks, they then told us that it was rhabdosarcoma, so a soft tissue tumor. So then the consultant was able to discuss the treatment that Nalia would need, the treatment plan, and then we was asked if she wanted to go on to a trial. So we were given like half an hour to make a decision if she wanted to
Mm.
go on to a clinical trial for her rhabdosarcoma, and she's 15 at the time. So it was my decision, but I just felt like she's 15. She's not little.
No.
Give it. She was 15, but she was turning 16 in the October. And with the NHS, once you turn 16, all the decisions are then made by the 16-year-old, not by the parent anyway, which I
Really?
didn't know. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So,
That
so
seems so
we,
young. Like,
I know,
how are they?
16, as soon as she turned 16, she was signing everything. So her chemo, she was signing for her chemo. Um, she was making the decisions once she turned 16. It kind of come away from me as a mum.
I
So
mean,
we were
it's
told
not.
that this was going to happen. So we decided then that actually you need to be part of all the decisions that are made about your treatment
Yeah.
because in 2 months' time, you know, you're going to make the decision. So she decided to go on the trial. Um, yeah, so we made that decision, and then like the decision about if she wanted a Hickman line or a PIC line. So they went all through those. That was just so scary when you hear about when they first said about the Hickman line. Both me and my husband were like, "Oh my God, she's gonna have a tube coming out of her chest." Um, and when you first saw it's funny how you get used to it though,
Mm.
because when she first had it fitted, it just looks so painful and just so raw, and like it's there, you can see it. There's this tube coming out of her chest. Um, but by the time she was halfway through chemo, those wires were like dangling around her neck, and she had them pulled up and underneath her bra. Like she'd obviously got used to them, but
Yeah.
when you first see them as a parent, it's like, yeah, it is. It's a lot
I
to
mean,
take in.
so let's go back. to the beginning, like what led you to actually go like to the doctors, to the hospital?
So
Like,
she had a tiny what looked like an abscess
okay.
on her bottom. It was only like the size of a pea. So we went to the GP and she was like, "Oh, I think it's an abscess. Let's give you some antibiotics. Keep an eye on it. See how you go." But within a week, the pea had turned to like the size of a golf ball on
Wow.
the antibiotics. So I took her back and was like, "The antibiotics is not doing anything. This is getting bigger." So they referred us to the hospital, and they took her down for surgery to drain the abscess. So the surgeon thought he had drained this abscess. So then they left the scar open because they like it to heal from the inside all the way up. So after her surgery, every day for 2 months, we were going to the GP surgery to have it redressed. It had to be a
Oh my
fresh dressing.
God.
But so we saw the same kind of few nurses all the time, and I kept saying to
Mm.
them, like, after about 3 4 weeks, I was like, it's not healing. There's nothing's closing up. It's still weeping
Mm.
with blood. Like, it's not healing. And one of the nurses was like, "No, you need to take her back to A&E. This is not right." So we went back to A&E, saw the surgeon. He was like, "No, no, no, it's fine. You're fine. Carry on doing what you're doing." There's no infection. She had no infection either. So her infection markers throughout the whole thing were perfect. So she was showing no signs of infection anywhere else, um,
Mm.
which I suppose made it even more difficult.
Mm.
So we went back to the GP, carried on with the dressings, and then it started to get even bigger around the area. So not only was the actual hole not healing, her whole the whole area was getting bigger and kind of bruised, looked like it had been
Mm.
battered a little bit. So two more times went back to A&E, and then they finally decided that they would operate again because they thought that the abscess wasn't drained properly. However, when a different surgeon went in, and she came out, he said, it doesn't look like an abscess to me. I don't know what it is, so I've took a biopsy, and you'll just have to wait to hear when the biopsy results come back. So that was like 2 months from the start of. By the time they had diagnosed it, the rhabdosarcoma had spread to her lymph nodes in her groin, and had started to attach to her bowel. Um, so yeah, they got it like just in. For me, it felt like they got it just in time because it
Mm.
obviously started to spread. She had no infection in her lymph nodes before, and literally, I think it was like the week before we went to Adam Brooks, all of a sudden, the lymph node in her groin was just massive. Um,
And I mean, was she like well in herself
she was
apart
fine,
from
absolutely
literally?
fine, absolutely fine. Apart from the fact that she couldn't sit down because she had a hole on her butt cheek where they'd kind of done the operation, but she just
Yeah,
wanted to get back to normal because she
yeah.
felt absolutely fine. She wasn't tired. She was eating well. She wasn't sick. There was no signs of infection at all. She was absolutely, as far as she was concerned, she was fit and healthy. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, so yeah, that's how we got there. It took a long time. It felt like it took a long time. Um,
And I mean, this is the thing that I'm finding with a lot of people that I speak to is these things are misdiagnosed. And it's only if you are an advocate for yourself or for your child that they just continue to be
yeah.
misdiagnosed.
At one point, my son was ill. I had him in hospital. Um, he'd had sinusitis. But my husband had taken my daughter to go and get her dressing changed again, and the nurse had sent her back to the hospital. So I had both of them there. And this was like the second or third time seeing the surgeon, and he just kind of looked at us like, oh, "It's you, like it's you again. Did I not just see you 2 weeks ago and tell you that everything's absolutely fine?" And I was like, it's not fine because it's
No.
not healing. It's not healing. And it's not until you talk to other people that have had abscesses that say to you, "Well, like friends at work were like, well, my husband had an abscess. It was cleared within 2-3 weeks with
Mm.
the changing of the dressings. What's going on with Nalia? And I was like, well, hers is not hers is not healing. It's not, and it was just the fact, and as well, she couldn't sit down for the whole time
I mean,
at
that,
all. So she spent the whole summer lying on her side or on her belly. It was just too painful to sit down.
and as a
So we couldn't
teenager,
travel.
she must have just been feeling just absolutely just crap.
Yeah, 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 because she was literally just stuck in the house. Um, Even kind of car journeys were really difficult. Like short kind of
Mm.
journeys weren't too bad. She could kind of sit at the front and kind of put herself over, but they weren't comfortable. So yeah, she was had enough. By the when we got called to see the consultant, she was like, she was ready to tell the consultant. She was like, I'm going to tell him, take this thing out. I've had enough. I want to get back to my life. Because as far as she was concerned, so this started like May. So when she just started her mock exams in
Okay.
May, I think she'd done probably the first week of mock exams, and then she had the operation. So this was from May until August that she was not able to sit down. Um, and in her head as well, before they decided to do the operation, she could sit down. Although
Mm.
she had this tiny lump on her bottom, she could sit down. It wasn't it wasn't uncomfortable. So she, in her head, she's like, well, they've cut me open, and now my life is ruined because
Yeah.
I can't do anything. So yeah, it was a crap summer.
I bet I
Um,
just, and I'm as a mum, I mean, you've got three kids and you're trying to stay strong. Like, I don't know, like, how do you like keep going and
I
stay
think
strong for them?
I think you just go into autopilot mode, and you really do. You really just put your own emotions. I don't know. Mine just switched off. The only time I seem to allow them to switch back on again is when she was needed me to, I
Yeah,
think, or if my son needed me to, or if it felt like if someone else needed me to be emotional, then I was able to do it. But apart from that, they were just there was no, in my head, there was no time. There was
mm.
no time for me to sit there and cry and wallow in self pity or say why my child. There was no time.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I think you just have to just get on with it.
mm.
There is no other, yeah, there's no other way of doing it. You've got to get on with it.
No, and I
Um,
think that's the thing. I think when you do have it, when people say, you're so brave, and it's like, well, there's no alternative.
no, there isn't. What else was I going to do? Walk away?
Yeah,
Run away? And I know my daughter says the same thing when people say to her, "Oh, you're so brave." She's like, "Well, did I have a choice?
yeah,
I didn't have a choice. I had to be brave."
yeah,
Um, and yeah, I think that is hard. Um, and I think for the other two, especially my 1 year old, because I just finished breastfeeding him not long as well, and he was really clingy,
mm.
um, really clingy. I think he struggled the most at the beginning. He got used to it. Don't get me wrong, he did get used to it, but he really, really struggled from like having me there all the time to then all of a sudden within the next day, mummy's not here for 3 days. Like, where's mum?
Yeah.
Where's mummy? Why am I talking to her on a screen? Yeah, he really did struggle.
I mean,
Um,
that's the thing. Like, how do you think, like, how has it affected you all as a family? Like, do you think it's brought you closer or like
I think
how?
I think with my middle son, so he's 12, he's 13 now. Um, it affected him quite badly. He's really an emotional child.
Mm,
So my daughter's Nalia's always quite cold. We always say she's like the strong, cold, doesn't like hugs, kisses. She's not that kind of girl. Where Ellis, my middle son, he's an emotional. and loves a hug and loves, and that's
Mm.
his way of showing it. So when she found out that the diagnosis, we kind of had like a family chat thing, because and she was just like, look, I don't want any of you to treat me any differently.
Mm.
um, Ellis, I don't want you to be extra nice to me. We don't get on, so we carry on not getting on. Like I don't want extra, because he kept going to cuddle her,
Yeah.
or like, let me do that for you, or like, which he would never normally do on a normal basis. And she was like, no, you need to stop doing that. Just treat me how you would
The
normally treat
same. Yeah.
me. Treat me the same. And I think he found that quite hard though.
Mm.
He found that really, really difficult, because although it's fine now, but during treatment, like when she was feeling really rubbish, a couple of times she did kind of let him go in and give her a hug, when she was feeling really bad. But I think it's had a real toll on their relationship. I don't know. They're both teenagers, so I know that's kind of
Mm.
got something to do with it. Um, but I think that, yeah, they're not as close as they were. They were a lot closer before her
Mm.
diagnosis, and now, yeah, I think obviously when someone's going through a cancer treatment, their emotions are just like all over the place.
Mhm.
Um, and then obviously she's 15, so you've got
Mm.
all of those emotions. Like she was sometimes really snappy, could be a bit nasty with things that she like when she'd say stuff. Because I remember my husband saying to Ellis, like, whatever Nalia says now, we just take it with a pinch of salt. Don't
Mhm.
take it to heart. If she says something that upsets you, you just they go over your head. And after her first treatment, who was in hospital. She was having her first chemo, and my husband was rubbing her back. She wanted someone to rub her back, and she just turned around and she was like, "You are just useless at this." But it was really aggressive as well, and I could see his face, like, how dare she speak to me like that? Like I'm her dad. And Ellis was just like, "Dad, remember, whatever she says, let it go over you." So yeah, it had that kind. That's been really hard, I think, for all
Yeah.
the like for my husband Robert and for Ellis. The kind of emotional dealing with her emotionally has been like really tough, and the snappy kind of um, get out of my room. I feel
Mm.
terrible. I get when everyone feels rough, they don't want anyone around, and I think as well for her, seeing Ellis live a normal life. He's
Yeah.
going off to school every day. He's going out with his mates. You know, his life is continuing. He's playing football, um, and she's at home. So there
Mm.
is that kind of, you could kind of see that kind of, well, not, she's not jealous of, I don't know if it's jealousy or just kind of like, you don't know how it feels to be sat here
Yeah.
watching the world go by. Um, and he's not old enough to have that kind of empathy either.
Yeah. And I think
Um,
that's the thing. Like cancer, it doesn't just affect the person who going through it, it affects everyone around. And it's quite hard then for the people to then who aren't going through it to then know how to adjust because they're suffering as well.
yeah, yeah.
So it's
He
yeah, it's
struggled. He struggled with school like loads last year. Um,
mm,
Whenever I was away, he would never be at school. I'd be like, "Why are you not in school?" "Oh no, I've got a headache." "No, you haven't." So if I was away at the hospital with her, he wouldn't be at school. The school did try and do kind of like give him like a 5 minute pass, and like he did have someone that he could go to talk to as well, which was lovely. He had a teacher that he could go and see if things just got too much for him.
mm,
And as well, his sister at the time when she first found out, she didn't want no one to know, which made it even harder on him because
yeah,
they go to the same school.
okay.
So everyone's asking him, "Where's your sister?
Very sure,
Where's your
yeah.
sister? Where is she? Where is she?" And he's like, "She's ill. She's ill." that, and you could just see that it was getting harder and harder for him. It got to a point where I was like, no, you're gonna have to tell like some people, because it's not fair on Ellis. He's having this all the time. People
Yeah.
asking, where are you? They haven't seen you since May. You know, it's now September. You need to kind of. It took her a while to kind of tell people.
So
Um,
how long was she having chemo for then?
so she was in for 4 days. So she had 4 day stays in hospital each time, and she had 12 rounds. Of, no, she had nine. Sorry, 9 rounds of chemo, um, and it was every 21 day cycles.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, every 21 days we'd be in for 4 days, and then she'd have appointments in between those 21 days, but they were just day appointments. Um,
And so where is it now then? Like what is she on treatment now?
no,
Or...
now she's on maintenance chemo, which consists of so two kinds of tablets that she takes daily. We're still having hospital visits. We go every other week, and she has the community nurse come, because she's had her Hickman line removed now that she's not having chemo through IV, because
Mm.
it's a tablet. But they, because she's part of a trial, they still want bloods every week as well, to make sure that her blood counts are fine. So the community nurse comes to our house once a week and takes blood, ready for our consultation, kind of the next day. Um, so yeah, we're still at the moment travelling to Cambridge as our local hospital. I don't know. I don't think they have as much of a teenage cancer unit as, because Adam Brooks is our big teenage cancer unit.
Okay. And then so how long will she be in this trial for? Like have they said?
Well, so the next part of the trial, so she'll have maintenance chemo for a year. And the next part of the trial would be to see if maintenance chemo for 2 years is better than one. So
Okay.
they'll put her name in, put her number inside the computer. She may just get the 1 year, and then that will be the end of it. She may get 2 years maintenance, and then she'll be on the usual 3 monthly scans and MRIs. So yeah, we're 4 months into maintenance chemo now.
And has she
Um,
had any then like effects from that maintenance chemo or
yeah, so she still gets nausea, not half as bad as when it's full on chemo. She still gets really tired, but still not as bad as kind of chemo. Um, but yeah, I think they're the two main things. It's the nausea, and because I don't know, when you think of chemo, you don't think of all the other things that come with it, like the
mm,
constipation, the diarrhea, the sickness, the headaches, the hot and cold sweats. Like, I
mm,
didn't know any of those things were kind of linked to chemo. So she still kind of suffers with a few of those. So they're just trying to find a kind of good balance of the maintenance chemo to hope that she can. She's kind of living a normalish life now. Not, she would say she's not, but
mm.
in comparison to what she has been
Yeah.
through, yeah, it is a lot better. She started college this week, so that's just knackered her out.
Oh, bless her.
It's just trying to get I think as well, because like it's hard when you haven't, like, she hasn't done any physical activity for well over a year,
Yeah.
and she's a big sport person.
Mm.
So then to that, but I believe that she really thought that she would just jump out of bed and her legs and arms would just work how they did prior. And it's
Yeah.
been really, really hard to get her to kind of have a bit of a break on herself, take it easy, like, don't be so hard on yourself.
I
She's
mean,
so hard on herself. It's
I
beyond.
think being a teenager, like
I know you are
You're
hard
probably
on us.
already hard on
I
yourself, and
know.
then to top it
She's
off.
so hard on herself. She's so hard on herself. Um, this is not how it was when I before. I could do this like 10 times better, you
Mm,
know, and it's just that kind of, I think in her head, she really thought, I do my chemo, I have my proton beam therapy, I ring the bell, it's all done, I get back to normal.
yeah.
Life is normal. And she had that in her head throughout the whole process. I think that, once this is done, my life's back to normal, I can do all the stuff that I did beforehand. And now it's like it's a lot harder. And like the hair loss as well is just that's been the biggest thing I think for especially a teenage girl.
I mean,
Um,
I can't even imagine how she copes with that because, yeah, your
she's
identity as a teenager is a big thing.
it is massive. Um, and it doesn't matter. And I know as a teenager, if your mum says you look beautiful, you think you look ugly.
Yeah.
So I try not to do that so much. But her her hair's starting to grow back now, and it looks so beautiful. She's got like this little pixie kind of cut thing. It looks like she's had purposely cut her hair like that.
Oh,
Um, but she will not. She won't leave the house with it.
really?
No,
That's the thing. It's the confidence, isn't it, that hair
will
gives you?
not leave the house. Will not. Um, and it's upset because I just think she does so much sport. Like she goes running and she's got a wig on. She comes
Hmm.
home and the sweat, like because you've got the wig on, and then
Yeah, it's
now
all
that she's
hot.
got hair, you've got to have the net thing underneath it.
Oh,
She's
God.
literally, I'm like, you're insane. Just go for your run with that. No, 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 no. She just will not have it. She will not leave the house without something covering her head. Yeah, that's been a big. I don't know what to actually do to try and give her. I want to just give her a confidence pill, or
Yeah. That's the thing,
um,
unfortunately. I think when you're older, you can see how like these things that you think matter as a teenager don't, but when you're a teenager, your mindset is very different. So,
mm,
like, what do you wish that somebody had told you like back then?
that it's okay to cry. That it's okay to be emotional. That it go away, you. Sorry, that's Ennis. That it's okay. It's okay to have crap days. Don't try and do everything. Like at one point, you get back from the hospital and there's all the washing to be done, and then you look at your
Mm,
house and you think, oh my God, this place is an absolute dump. Um, and I did get to a point where I was like, you just need to stop. The house is what it is. Like you can't do everything. Um, because yeah, you just burn yourself out. So I think yeah, if someone had just said to me, just be kinder to yourself, um, and it's okay to be emotional, and it's okay to ask questions. I think that was
mm,
the one thing as well. Like sometimes when the consultants are talking and they're talking in their consultant language that you're supposed to
yeah,
understand,
lingo.
as their lingo that you're supposed to
Yeah.
understand, and when they start using all the abbreviations as well, so they're not even using the full terminology,
Mhm.
and I'm like, okay, I'll write that down. What does that mean? What does that mean? And yeah, that it's okay to just say, hold on a minute, actually, I don't know what that word is because
I don't know why they do that.
I'm a,
They
I'm a
seem to think we all know cancer talk, and it's like
yeah.
we don't.
No, we don't. We don't. Like when they spoke about a Hickman line, it was like I'm supposed to know
What that
what
is.
a Hickman line is. Um, and yeah, it was really nice because Natalie was 15, so she was PDU throughout her treatment. So they have like play specialists in the children's department, and not that she needed someone to help her to play, but one of them would always come in with into the consultant meetings after a while and just kind of translate it into normal kind of English for Nalia,
Oh, I
so that
like
she could kind of, so that she
understand.
understood what was
Yeah,
going on. And she would always kind of, she would know what the consultant was going to talk about. So she'd
yeah.
kind of bring literature that was more tailored to Nalia's age group rather than kind of adult literature. So that was really, really helpful. That was really nice. I don't think they do that in the adult department,
I
but
think I
yeah.
should.
Yeah.
I definitely should.
Yeah, because they just,
Gobbledygook.
I know, and they just talk about it like, and they kind of expect you to, like when they were talking about what types of chemo she was going to have. In my head, so as a family, we've had no, we've been lucky. We've had no connection to cancer. Um, so what I knew about cancer and what I understood about cancer was all TV related.
Mm,
Like watching a film or
yeah.
something like that. Um, And I just thought that, you just go and you have your chemo and it's just one chemo. Like chemo's chemo. There's not like all these different types of
Mm.
chemo that you can have and all the different effects that these chemos can have on you. And they're just talking to me like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So she can only have so much doxycycline because da da da. And I'm like, Doxa who? What, what is that? Just like I don't. Yeah, I think they do need to do something a bit more, just a bit more parent friendly or even patient friendly. That
Yeah.
people, you don't walk into a consultant's appointment knowing all the terminology about your type of cancer. It just doesn't, and especially as they always say, do not Google.
Yeah, exactly. So how else are you going to get your information?
I must admit, it did get to a point where I did Google some of them because I was just like, they started talking about the Red Devil at one point. Now, oh yeah, she's going to have the Red Devil today.
What's the Red Devil?
That was my thing. I was like, what's the Red Devil?
What's that?
So it's the doxycycline. It's a form of chemo, but they call it the Red Devil. But I had no clue.
How are you
I'm like,
supposed to know what that is?
but and all in my head, I'm just thinking, oh my God, what the hell is the Red Devil? What is the Red Devil? What are they giving to my child? You know what I mean? So yeah, I did Google a few little things and stuff, but yeah, even kind of down to the machinery that they use as well.
Mm,
Like when you're having your chemo and you're attached to the IV machine, they just walk away and then the machine starts beeping. And you're like, okay,
and
is
it's
that
not
the end?
explained to you then like what process and what's happening. Nothing.
No, no, no. So then you're like calling the nurse back, the machine's beeping. Oh, okay, and she'll just kind of, after a while, after
Yeah.
like the third or fourth chemo, I was like, oh, Nadia, it's still got 5 minutes. Just press the OK button, or that's okay. We'll just press that button. But the first time you hear that machine beeping, my heart just kind of was like, what's going on? Why is it beeping?
Yeah.
Why does it say alarm? What's straight pressing the nurse button? It's just those little things that they could probably kind of just go through. It's just a little machine. It's not. It takes
Yeah.
5 seconds to just say, "Don't panic if the alarm goes off." It's just that
Exactly.
there's air in the line, or
It's all like the little things that they just leave you to sort of like work out yourself that
yeah,
they really should have more care to.
yeah, yeah. I
So,
think so.
did you get any then like support as a family?
No.
No.
So where we live is just outside Peterborough, so we're in like a small town. So Cambridge, when we was at Cambridge, Nalia got support through the PDU, so she had a few counselling sessions that I requested um, because it was around the time that she'd lost her hair, and she just really wasn't coping very well. So she had some counselling sessions whilst in hospital. So every time we went for treatment, because the lady was only in Cambridge, So, which is an hour and a half for us. So every time she went for treatment, she would see the counsellor.
Mm.
Unfortunately, now she's not having stay treatment. We're just there for the day. She's consultant, we get meds and we go. So we've been kind of toing and throwing and trying to find someone in the local area that she can.
I was gonna say, so you have to travel all that way just for meds?
Yeah,
Oh gosh.
yeah. Because our local hospital will not dispense her meds because they don't want to get it wrong. And yeah, that's the reason they've given. They don't want to get it wrong, and if they get it wrong, someone, So yeah, we have to travel all that way just for meds.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, she's had a little bit of support whilst being in hospital, um, but not so much now that she's not kind of staying. I think once, I don't know, it feels like once you stop having treatment in terms of having to stay over, the kind of
Hmm.
connection, you kind of, it's almost like they're like, okay, tally ho, see you later, move on. Do you know, it really feels
Yeah.
like that. Um,
Yeah.
which is, I think, is so hard because you spent so long with these people, being your kind of comfort, and if anything
Mm.
happens, anything goes wrong, they're right there, and they're always calling you as well. So it's not like it's you always reaching out to them, and
Yeah.
then you ring that bell, and it just, it stops, which is, yeah, kind of. I think that's what, as a family, I think that's what we found the hardest.
No,
Trying to,
it's exactly that's why this has like why I do this because it just seems to be a common occurrence that yeah, once you've left the hospital, you've had treatment, you're just kind of left to just then crack on, and it's like doesn't just stop. Like
no, no,
the
no, and
emotional roller coaster is still going, and you haven't got
yeah,
off.
no, and the fear, because it's still kind of, if she feels unwell, it's still
Mm,
kind of, if she's got a temperature, I need to get her to the hospital within an hour.
yeah,
So there is still that kind of, are you okay? How are you feeling today? I would never, before her cancer treatment, it would be good morning. How are you? Yeah, it wouldn't be, let me take your temperature. You look a bit peaky. Why are you not
yeah.
eat like? Or if she comes down and says, I don't want no food, it's like, well, what? Why? What's wrong? So yeah, it is quite tough. I think that.
I mean, yeah, Amy's just said we spent just short of 7 months in hospital. Then to be discharged was just so scary.
Yeah, yeah,
I
I totally
I
agree.
can't imagine you're in that bubble where you're feeling safe, and then you're
And you've
just
always got the. My thing was that you've always got the nurse. You've always got the nurse buzzer.
yeah.
There's always someone there or someone on the end of the phone. And now it's like, yeah, it's just down to you to make that judgment as a
Hmm.
mum if you feel that something's not quite right, or
Which is really hard because you're not a doctor
no,
and you don't want to like if anything does seem a bit untoward, you want to get her in, but then you don't know if you're overreacting and yeah.
yeah, no, that's the thing as well. Yeah, although she is, because she's older, it is a little bit easier. Because she will be like, no, mum, I'm fine. I am not going
Mm.
to the hospital. There is nothing wrong with me. Um, where probably if she was younger, I would be like, because she can't communicate with that with me. Where being 15, 16, she can say, actually, mum, no, I'm fine.
And
I
to
just
sit
think
in.
like this.
Yeah, I was just reading that.
Me too. Um, it's hard when she Nadia had proton beam therapy in London at UCLH. So we went just before Christmas. So kind of 2 weeks before Christmas, we spent 6 weeks in London.
Wow.
So we decided to just go as a family. So I took my son out of school for 6 weeks. My husband took 6 weeks off work, and we went and stayed in Camden. So there, they kind of do their. She had chemo as well there, and they do their chemo treatments slightly different. You can have it as like an outpatient there. So
Okay.
you go in. She had the chemo, and then you go home with a backpack of fluid. She went home with like a backpack of fluid with a machine, and then you go back the next day and have your next set of chemo and the fluid, and you go home with the fluid again. Because overnight, they don't do the chemo overnight, it's just fluids. And she thought that was a great idea because it meant that she didn't have to do the 3 night stay in
Yeah.
hospital. And when they said that to us, I was like, oh, that's really nice, isn't it? I didn't realise that actually who would be in charge of the backpack and the fluids would be mum.
Mm.
Oh, it was just like the worst 2 nights of my life. Like, I couldn't sleep. You can just hear the pump going, and then if it beeps, I need to call the emergency, which it did beep a few times in the night. So I had to call the emergency nurse to talk me through what to do with the machine. There was like air in the line, and to tap the
Mm.
air out of the line. And I was saying to like my dad, I was like, Dad, I actually think I could be a nurse right now after
I was
like.
gonna say, like, was you given any training for that, or?
Well, no, they literally just show you how to do it before you go, like half an hour before you go.
Oh
This
wow.
is this is the bag. Yeah, tally-o, see you later. Yeah, and like obviously when you have your chemo, they always check your urine as well. I don't know if they do the same with adults. With the children, like every time they go to the toilet, they check urine for blood in the
Mm.
urine. So then that was my job to check her urine because obviously she was at home with me rather than being in hospital. So like I was doing the urine checks, as well as the line care. Yeah, so I kind of felt like a bit, yeah, a bit of a
That's
nurse.
just crazy, and that's the thing. And I think this is why it's good to talk about this because people don't understand everything that comes with having cancer and all the different types of treatment and all the different scenarios and the ways you can go about it and how much it impacts the family. And it's
Mm.
just like, I mean,
Yeah,
what a bloody super mum you are. Like, honestly, I
yeah.
don't know how you, I don't know how you function. I really don't.
I must admit, the 6 weeks in London, that was hard.
Mm,
That was like really hard. We decided to do because it was over Christmas, so we kind of did a family Christmas before, and then went to London. But because we was in a two-bedroom flat in Camden, which the NHS pay for, um, and the flat was gorgeous. But there's like five of us um, in a two-bedroom flat. One person's ill, so like me and my daughter, we slept together,
mm,
and then we put all the boys in the other room because she just did not need to hear her 1.5-year-old brother screaming in the middle of the
yeah.
night. Um, and then it was every single day that she had to go for her proton beam therapy Monday to Friday. But because Jude, my youngest, he was not allowed. He's not allowed down on the proton beam floor. So that's why my husband had to come because
Right.
no under 12s are allowed in there unless they're having treatment themselves, but no sibling under 12 is allowed to be there. So I couldn't take him to the hospital with me. So I knew I was like, I have to have someone. I can't
Yeah.
sit upstairs while she's downstairs having. So that he came. So he spent most of the time with the boys, and I spent most of the time in the hospital. And we kind of, it was hard because obviously the boys weren't ill and wanted to go out and explore
Mm,
London, and it was
yeah.
over Christmas,
Yeah.
and yeah, and she was feeling we did manage to do some family days, like we did manage to do a few things, but it was so cold as well.
Mm.
And she was exhausted from the proton beam therapy and then having chemo. Yeah, that was kind of that really, I think that really did test us as kind of family of trying to balance.
I mean, I think
Um,
if anything's going to test a family, it definitely is cancer. And I think all your kids and your
Especially
husband,
a marriage as well. That,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, definitely.
definitely. I mean, it sounds like you've just all just pull together. Um, yeah,
We've been lucky as well. We've had other, like, I think we've had family like without extended family or and friends and godparents um
mm,
help. There's no way that we would have been able to juggle work, Nalia's treatment, and the children because like well my husband had to work. We need an income coming
mm,
in, yeah, so he had to work throughout it. So we had to have other support from elsewhere. I think that's a key thing as well. Is just you don't want to. I really hated asking. I know everyone always says, if you need
mm,
anything,
yeah.
please, please. But when you're like, because I was happy if someone, if someone like a couple of people would just kind of drop off food, which was
Yeah.
lovely. Like someone would make something for me to put in the freezer, which was. But when you think I've got no one to be home for when Ellis comes home from school, I need to ask someone like to just be home. And that kind of thing, or I've got no one to pick Jude up from the childminder. Oh, I'm gonna have to ask.
Yeah, because
Oh,
then you feel like a burden.
yeah, it's really yeah. I really didn't like it. That's the one thing I didn't like asking for help. If someone offered, I was like, oh great, thank you, But the times when we were short and like having to ask people, or people would say they would do it, and then life changes, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden they're like the day before, I'm so sorry, Kelly, but I can't look after Jude. Are you kidding me?
Mm.
I'm in
That's the
hospital
thing.
tomorrow.
Yeah. It's yeah. No, you can't. It's you're relying on people, but then yeah. Yeah. No. So, lastly, what would you want people to know about childhood cancer that they might not understand?
I'd like them to know that it's more than just the cancer. It's more than just the tumour or whatever form of cancer there is. These children go through hell and back and have
Mm,
to make decisions that you would never think of making at that age. You would never think about your fertility at 15,
mm,
or preserving your eggs so that in the future, you can have children. Um, they have to make decisions that are beyond what they should have to make.
yeah.
Um, and they have to see things as well that that they shouldn't have to see. I
No,
think um,
they're
I
still
think
children.
they're still children. Yeah, they're still children, and but they're still made to see those things and go through those things. And I think it's more than it is definitely more than cancer, more than even I know losing the hair for some is a big thing, but yeah, it's the fact that their lives stand still while everybody else's carries on. I think
Mm,
that's a big thing for them. No matter what age, I think most parents that I've spoken to, if even if it's a 5-year old that then finishes cancer at 6, they don't then finish and then become that 6-year old.
no.
They've spent the whole year, and I think that's the big thing that all their peers have all moved on
Hmm.
to different things. They're all doing whatever, and they're kind of still at that point where they were first diagnosed. Um, I think, yeah, I think that's what I'd like to say.
And that's the thing as well. I
Yeah,
think you're not a child for that long of your life. So
no,
to have any part of that stolen by cancer,
yeah,
it's a big thing.
it's a big thing, and it's a big thing in terms of their development as well,
Mm.
emotionally, more so, I think, because although my daughter's always been really independent, I think girls are way more independent than boys, but she's always been really independent, and then having this cancer diagnosis almost for her, she then needed me, but
Yeah,
she's not needed me in that way, because since she was like 3 years old, and
yeah,
now she's kind of crying out for me in the night. That a 15-year-old doesn't want to cry out for her mum in the middle of the
no,
night. So I think it's the emotional strain that it has on them. Um, yeah, I think that there just needs to be more support for them because going forward, once they finish their treatment, they're just expected to just, get back on, get back on
Yeah,
the train, carry on with life, um, and that's really hard.
definitely. No, it is. I think that's why we have to just carry on just talking about cancer and raising more awareness and getting more help out there. Like it's
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
so important.
yeah. And it's kind of it's a lottery in terms of, where you live,
Hmm.
if you get the support that you need. If
Yeah.
not, you're kind of left. And I think it would be nice if they had more um, ways that, especially with the teenagers, that they actually get to meet each other. So they get
Yeah.
to, they get to see someone else who's going through the same thing as them. Because, okay, no one's friend can truly understand what they're going through,
Mm-mm.
as much as they can try. And I think I know teenagers are a bit, hide behind screens and don't want to meet up, but I think if they had more social
Yeah.
events
No, definitely.
for them to kind of connect with
Because
each
then
other.
they've got someone that actually resonates with what they're going through, and it's going to be hard enough for them to open up to the parents. But at least if there's another
Yeah,
teenager,
yeah,
then they'll open up.
yeah. No, totally. I thought, yeah, yeah. If there was more of that, then that
Absolutely.
would be good. There is Teens Unite. Then they are fab. But obviously they do the whole country. So,
Okay.
like they do events. It's like they're kind of in London, big cities, you know. Um,
There
and
needs to be
yeah,
more like local supports.
yeah, yeah. I think so because there must be. She's not the only person in our area
No,
that would, that would have had a cancer
sadly,
diagnosis.
probably not. No.
No, no.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Well, thank you so much, Kelly,
thank
for
you.
coming on.
And I didn't
And
cry.
you didn't
I, s-
cry. I
I
know.
said to my kids, I was like, I really don't want to cry on a live on TikTok. Please don't make me cry. I really didn't. I'm
I
so
said to my
pleased.
husband before, I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "I need to take tissues," and then I sat down and I was like, oh, "Bugger, I don't have any
No,
tissues."
I'm so pleased I didn't cry. I'm so pleased I didn't cry.
Well done.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for sharing your story and for just spreading more awareness. Like because literally everyone that I speak to, it's all different new cancers. Like I'd never heard of that cancer before, and it's just there's so much cancer out there, and I think
Yeah,
we
there is.
just the taboo around talking about it really needs to be squashed.
Yeah, totally. I
Definitely.
agree. Thank you for
But
having
thank you
me.
so
Thank
much.
you.
I appreciate it.
Oh,
Hello.
Ellis, go away.
I was only
You
chatting.
might
I didn't
Oh,
say
have
hello to
I
you.
know. I didn't realize he's just saying he was on the chat, and I didn't say hello. I didn't realize that there were things going on the bottom.
Oh.
Sorry, babe.
Me
Sorry.
and Nally were on here. We were talking.
Sorry. Sorry. Okay. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you. And
Thank you.
enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye, Alice.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.